I lost control, but I think you'll find it's good radio. So sit back and enjoy a conversation between myself and the two members of MP3, Chris Payne and Martin Pearson. Well, I'd like to welcome to the airwaves of 89.1, one Martin Pearson and one Chris Payne. Hello to both of you.
Hello to you.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
Okay, the first one was, that covers all.
Yeah, well, you can edit out the two that don't work.
Yeah, great.
welcome to 89.1 on this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
We've
Saturday.
just seen the eclipse, we're confused.
We're going to play in Cooktown. There's a wonderful jazz and blues club in Cooktown. Oh, I'm informed it's a wonderful club by the people who run it, and they should know. And we've been sort of threatened with playing there for some years, and they've decided that because of the eclipse, they now have a good excuse to get us all the way from Melbourne, and so we'll be playing there on Friday night.
What time on Friday night?
Oh, evening. Possibly later. There's a whole small festival-like atmosphere, so there'll be various acts going on.
Okay, and you, Martin, are no stranger to festivals.
No, I actually worked it out, 22 years now since the first one. And the first festival I ever was on stage at was the Coranda National.
Really?
Yep, yard and a half away from here, when it rained.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember.
And everybody changed the posters, because the posters said, in the unlikely event of rain, this is in a rainforest, all events can be held under cover. And then it just kept raining, and people changed the posters, and they said, in the unlikely event of rain, all events can be held underwater. But nevertheless, it was a fantastic festival. I mean, one remembers it.
Well, the reason we had it was that they had it in Mullaney the year before, and it was due to go to Adelaide.
That's right.
But Adelaide was going to have Adelaide, and so they didn't want to have both festivals at the same time.
That was there was a duo called the Black River. So they were the two sisters, and they were these young country and western girls, and they were singing with the full American accents, even though they came from
I remember them.
Black River.
I remember them. Yeah.
And they sang a version. They said, because we're at a folk festival, they even talked in American accents. So they, as far as I know, they came from Townsville.
Yeah, they did.
And when they were off stage, g'day. But on stage, hell yeah. And they said, because we're at a folk festival, we're going to sing a folk song that we've learned for the occasion. And they sang Poor Ned.
Yeah.
And I swear, they got to the verse and they sang, I don't know what's right or wrong, but they hung Christ in Wales. and just kept going. And we were sitting there in the front row going, did that really happen?
Incredible.
All these memories come back. You see, now that I'm in Cairns, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah, well,
traumatic for you?
Yeah, it's like repressed memory.
Anyway, how I came to first hear of you, Martin, was when I went to Woodford for the first time. 2003 was a traumatic year for me, and everybody thought I was going to drop off the twig, and they invited me everywhere. It was a great year. And my daughter said, Dad, you must go and see the breakfast program at the Troubadour. You must go to that. And I thought, whatever for? I've never heard of these people. Who are they? And I was bowled over. I really was bowled over because of the audience participation. And the fact that your humour is witty. You have this sharp wit. Where does that come from?
If you'll believe the Fiona Scott Norman's program, it's because I was seriously bullied as a child, which is probably not a bad thesis.
Right.
It's amazing how many people who were quite badly bullied do turn out to be comedians.
Yeah, right.
It's a self-defence. I was born in Geelong, in Australia.
But you grew up in Northeast England?
Northeast England, yeah. I went back when I was 6. My parents went back.
Right.
And so they went back to the villages they remembered as being the lovely places they grew up in. Camden and Lee Home are the two small villages in County Durham. And, of course, they all speak like Vin Garbutt up there.
Good folk reference. Another one from around there. Yeah.
Why, man, they go, what the dear bonny lad? Like that. And I'm going, g'day, because I'm still got the Australian twang. And I've gone to this school, local school. Everybody at the school was born 30 yards away from the school, except me. Yeah. And so I just, for 15 years, I just got smacked around. And it didn't help that I was smart.
No.
I learned things, an irritating habit at schools. which got you into trouble. I got, I don't know, it was tiny. I was also the second smallest kid at the school. So I got smacked around quite a bit, and I worked out reasonably quickly that if I could make them laugh, they'd leave me alone.
Yeah, right.
Smart
move.
Well, self-defence.
Okay.
It's Darwinian. But you don't say it's Darwinian because then you get smacked around again. You say it was intelligent design.
We still use it now. If he's not firing, we start bullying him.
Yeah.
He listens a good response and he's much better after that.
Okay.
Chinese burn. That wasn't funny. Smack. Like the Three Stooges.
Okay, Chris, well, how did you get involved in things?
Involved, that is an interesting word.
How did you start?
Look, basically, I knew Martin through just at a couple of festivals. Just sort of bumped in a couple of local things in Melbourne, and ended up playing with him a couple of times, just supporting him doing harmonica work. Okay, with Martin, and that from that, of course, grew into the MP3 thing. A little bit down the road from that. So that's simple, really. Yeah.
But let's face it, you must have done a lot of practice. I mean, that's beautiful the way you play that harp.
It is sad to say that I hardly ever practice.
Really?
Yeah. It's a thing I play. I do practice. If I have a specific task to do,
right,
or something like that, I will practice, and do stuff. But I would, dare I say, more of my time goes into probably, guitar singing, that sort of stuff, despite the fact that harmonica is obviously my solo instrument, Yeah.
So
I do practice, but it's not something I assiduously sit down and do.
No.
If there's a task at hand, which might be a session or a new song or whatever it might be, I will go away and look at it. But I think probably more from a musical point of view than a harmonica point of view. In other words, what melody, what counter melody would work with this song, what type of approach, do we want chords, do we want high notes, low notes, that sort of stuff. So it's more of a musical approach to practice than practicing the harmonica per se.
The scales, etc. Yeah. Okay, and you've been doing this for how many years?
Well, 2 or 3 years now, wouldn't it, Martin?
You mean the harmonica? he got his first one in a Christmas cracker 4 years ago.
That's right. Yeah, it was hidden down the bottom, and I thought, it's a musical instrument. I must play this. Yeah. Now, look, I played when I was a kid. And then I didn't play it for a long time and played it on and off, and then I sort of started playing it again literally a handful of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's always been there, but to varying degrees. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, the third member of the trio is Dave O'Neill.
That's right. Yep.
Who isn't here, unfortunately.
No, he's still in Canberra, but we are a disparate lot. The trio started with Alex Legg, who's a beautiful songwriter, and just writes some absolutely delightful songs, which we recorded on that first CD. But Alex is also very much a journeyman musician, and he does it for a living, so he couldn't really get away to festivals and places like this with startling frequency. And so Dave said, "Do you do all those old Ink Spot songs?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I love them." He said, "Can I join your trio?" And I went, "I can't see any downside to this," because he's really very good.
Yeah.
And he also plays mandolin and violin, or fiddle at a equivalent level. So he's just fitted straight in there, hasn't he?
Very good musician, very, very flexible.
Except he didn't show up yesterday.
Aside from minor issues like that.
Being still in Canberra. But I'm sure he'll get there.
Yeah. Okay, now, you're also performing, besides being in Cooktown on Friday, you're performing in Yungaburra.
And here's another bit of historical trivia. The very first folk festival I went to was the Yungaburra Folk Festival. The first one I played at was Kuranda. And I was taken there by a guy called Bob Elwell and another fella called Peter Diamond Ramblin.
Oh, Peter.
Peter's still around.
Yeah, Peter's still
lovely man.
Yeah, he is.
Man is a hatful of cut snakes. And he had that little old, he probably still has that little old van they used to drive around in. And it kept breaking down, and we didn't get there till 4 a.m. And it got to this weird moments where the van would break down, and he'd say, "If you tap the starter motor 3 times with a spanner, it'll start." And, they would do it. And then the car would start. And as it turned out, it was because it was cooling down enough for some wire to break contact with something which made it start again. But there was all this weird stuff going on. And every time the van broke, they'd try some new thing. They'd twist a wire or they'd change a fuse or something like this. And it would start again. And it ended up on a hillside near Tarzali at 4 a.m. And nothing's worked this time. We've given the van a push and it's taken off down the road, down this long hill, at which point the heavens have opened. So pitch black. The car's gone. There's not even headlights anymore. 4 o'clock in the morning, me and Bob are just drenched in rain. And I said, so this is folk festivals, hey? He said, they get better. And we arrived at 4 in the morning, and there was the pub was closed, of course, everything was shut. So we slept off the village green underneath a little tent that had been put up as a display for Save the Wombat or something like that. And that was my first introduction to folk festivals.
And indeed you were saved.
It was, yes. I never looked back. It was brilliant.
Right. Okay, so it's 7 o'clock on Saturday night in Yungaburra. Now, if there's any cretin out there who's never been to a performance that either of you have performed, what are they likely to see?
Well, the MP3 is a little bit different from the solo.
Of course.
More music, more of the nice ink spots, a little bit of swing, but also some fairly chunky folk. We try not to, if you have a podium, if you have a soapbox, my belief is you must say something worthwhile while being on there. So we have a few more intense songs like Masters of War, Were You There, which is a beautiful song.
Oh, that is absolutely
Although, we may not be doing that one on Saturday,
right.
But there will be something, I hope, equally as beautiful. I think Dave does a lovely version of that lovely Ralph McTell song we started singing. Long, long way from Clare to Here.
Clare to Here, that's a lovely song.
Sweet as a nut. Yeah, we'll do probably a version of that. And as well as just some nice foot tapping.
Well, there is another one here by Alex Legg, Where the Ghost Gum Grows.
Another beautiful song. And, once again, we'll probably not do a cover of that one just yet. So, so some of that, and probably some talk. You let me talk a little bit?
We tolerate it.
Oh, while he's talking, you go out and have...
Well, actually,
brandy round the back there, I think, is the term that they used to use.
On one memorable occasion, I think it might have been at the National or something, I could recall that we knew on a particular song Martin was tending to become a little bit prolix in terms of the introduction, just a little bit. And so Alex and I actually set ourselves up with 2 chairs, a thermos flask and cups and a couple of newspapers behind him on the stage. And he just continued oblivious.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Turned around and go, why is all this rustling behind me? Some bit of wildlife that got on the stage. And then
we indeed had, yes. We were there.
Okay, well, look, I know you blokes are busy. You're only up here for a short time, and we do appreciate the time you've given us here at Cairns FM 89.1.
Our pleasure.
Definitely.
Please, could you pick a track for us to go out on from that album?
I think go out with one of the jolly ones. I don't want to hear something like You Belong to Me. That's a stalking song. How about that one? You agree with that?
I would go for any of them.
Isn't that one of the ones where you do a good bit of harmonica?
No, they're all crap, actually. No, there's no good harmonica.
You're not allowed to say crap on 89.1.
I actually do not. I'm sorry.
It's not Melbourne now, Chris.
I'm sorry, that's right.
Outrageous.
I actually almost don't play on that one.
You Belong to Me? Is that true? Oh, God, it's not good. That's not good enough for Chris. Hold on. We'll find one where he plays more. Sorry, Chris.
Doesn't worry me. Doesn't worry me.
Well, you can play Crazy. Yeah, but everyone knows Crazy. It's boring, isn't it?
It's boring. It's crap. Yeah, but whatever. You
can't say crap on 89.1. I'm trying to mention that.
Twice. I'm an evil man from the south.
No, I'm going to say You Belong to Me. It's a lovely song written in 1950, and if you listen to the lyrics now, it actually sounds a bit creepy. It sounds like a stalking song. So we call this one our stalking song.
Okay.
You Belong to Me.
Well, thank you very much for both of you, Chris Payne and Martin Pearson. They're appearing in Cooktown on Friday the 16th and in Yungaburra on Saturday the 17th, but not in Cairns.
No. Sunday we're going to Mission Beach and playing at a little place called the something or other cafe. Biddle. Does that sound right?
I don't know. Mission Beach.
But it's a tiny little place, 30 people, so that'll probably be full already.
Okay. I'll let my friend
However,
Jay
if you're
know.
Desperate,
I'll let Jay know you're down there.
If you're desperate to get to see us in Mission Beach, give Collar hoy.
Okay. Thanks again, folks.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Thank you.
And there it is. That's the interview. As you can see, it was very difficult for me to keep control of that interview, but nevertheless, excellent radio. I think the venue in Yungaburra has been changed to the Lake Eacham Hotel.